Lily woke up with a big smile on her face. The sun peeked through her window, and the first thing on her mind was school photo day. She jumped out of bed, already bubbling with excitement. Today wasn't just any ordinary day. It was special. She had been thinking about it all week. As she stood in front of her closet, her eyes sparkled. After a few moments, she picked out her favorite outfit, a bright pink dress with sparkly buttons and a tiny bow on the waist. It was the one she wore only on the most special occasions. She ran to her mom holding the dress high. "Today I'm gonna look like a princess," she said, beaming. Her mom smiled and helped her get ready. They brushed her hair slowly, tying it into a neat ponytail with her favorite glittery scrunchie. Lily looked at herself in the mirror and twirled, watching her dress flutter like fairy wings. She couldn't wait to show her friends. Her backpack was already packed the night before. She hadn't wanted to forget anything. She slid into her shiny shoes, the ones that clicked when she walked, and practically danced out the door. Even the air outside felt magical. Birds chirped, and the morning sun made everything glow a little more than usual. On the way to school, Lily kept checking her reflection in the car window, adjusting her hair, straightening her collar, and whispering little pep talks to herself. She imagined standing in front of the camera, lights flashing, smiling just right. She even practiced a few poses in her seat. "This is my moment," she thought. Her mom giggled, watching her from the front seat, her heart warmed by Lily's joy. As they pulled into the school parking lot, Lily jumped out, backpack bouncing on her back. She waved goodbye and skipped toward the entrance. Other kids were arriving too, some excited, some still sleepy. But Lily's energy stood out, like a little star shining in the morning crowd. She greeted her friends and showed off her dress. "You look so pretty," one of them said. Lily's smile got even bigger. The whole school buzzed with photo day energy. Kids lined up in the hallway, teachers helping them fix collars and smooth flyaway hairs. Lily waited for her turn, standing straight, holding her hands just right, practicing her smile one last time. Inside, her heart beat fast, but in the best way. When her name was called, she stepped up to the camera with the confidence of a queen. The photographer smiled and said, "You ready?" Lily nodded, eyes twinkling. The flash popped. Just like that, the moment was captured. She knew this was the best school photo she'd ever had. As they pulled up to the school, Lily's smile started to fade just a little. She saw groups of kids already gathered near the entrance, laughing, fixing each other's hair, and chatting about their outfits. Some wore fancy dresses, some wore cool jackets, and for a second, Lily looked down at her pink dress and shiny shoes and wondered, was it too much? Was she trying too hard? Her fingers fidgeted with the bow on her dress, and her confident smile slowly turned into a small frown. Her mom noticed right away. "Hey," her mom said softly, turning in her seat to face her. "What's going on, sweetie?" Lily shrugged and looked out the window. "I don't know. What if people laugh? What if I don't look right? What if I don't belong in the pictures?" Her voice was small, almost a whisper. Her mom reached over and gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Lily," she said, "you belong in every picture, no matter what anyone says." Lily blinked and looked at her mom. The words landed right in her heart. Her mom smiled, warm and strong, like she always did when Lily needed it most. "Pictures aren't about being perfect," her mom continued. "They're about remembering who you are. And who you are is brave, kind, and beautiful, inside and out. No one else has your sparkle, and that's exactly why you should be in every photo." Lily felt her shoulders relax a little. She took a deep breath, then smiled slowly. Her mom gave her hand a gentle squeeze. "So go in there," she said, "and be exactly who you are. That's more than enough." Lily nodded, her eyes brighter now. She opened the car door, but before stepping out, she turned back quickly and threw her arms around her mom in a tight hug. "Thank you," she whispered. Her mom hugged her back, whispering, "You've got this," right into her ear. As Lily walked toward the school entrance, her steps felt different, lighter, stronger. The doubts were still there, just a little, but her mom's words were louder. She kept hearing them in her mind, like a song playing in the background. "You belong in every picture." She stood up straighter, held her head high, and smiled to herself. It wasn't just about looking like a princess anymore. It was about feeling like one too, confident, proud, and ready to shine, no matter who was watching. And just like that, Lily stepped into her day with courage, her mom's voice echoing in her heart, and a new kind of glow that no camera could ever fully capture. But it would try. Lily was waiting in line with the rest of her class, her heart fluttering with excitement. Her hair was still neat, her dress still perfect, and she kept her best smile ready. Kids around her talked about their poses and how they hoped their photos would turn out. Lily nodded along, holding her hands together, standing tall. This was her moment. Then, just as the line inched forward, her teacher leaned down and gently touched her shoulder. "Lily," the teacher said softly, "can I talk to you for a moment?" Lily followed her to the side, her smile fading just a little. She didn't know what was wrong. The hallway felt a little quieter in that corner, and her classmates kept chatting without noticing. The teacher knelt down to Lily's eye level, her voice low and slow. "Sweetheart," she began, "you look very lovely today." Lily gave a small smile, unsure. Then the teacher continued, "But we're doing a certain theme for the class photo today, a kind of look we planned, and I'm not sure your outfit really fits." Lily blinked, confused. "But I wore this for picture day," she said. "I wanted to look special." "I understand," the teacher replied. "It's just that the rest of the class is sticking to more neutral tones. It's for the layout. It's nothing personal. Maybe just this once. You can sit this photo out. We'll still have lots of fun today, all right?" Lily stood still, her fingers curling around the edge of her dress. She didn't know what to say. The air around her felt heavier now. Her cheeks burned, and her heart started to thump louder. She glanced back at her classmates. None of them had heard. They were still laughing, fixing their hair, ready for their moment in front of the camera. She looked down at her pink dress, the one that made her feel like a princess just an hour ago, and now it suddenly felt wrong. Too bright, too different. "But I wanted to be in the picture," she said quietly, almost too soft to hear. The teacher gave a tight smile and gently patted her shoulder. "I know. Next time, okay?" Lily nodded slowly, her throat tight. She walked back to her seat while the rest of the class moved forward. She watched them pose, laugh, and smile for the camera. Her seat felt colder now. Her hands were still in her lap, but her fingers didn't feel like twirling her dress anymore. The sparkle she had that morning, the confidence, the excitement, had faded, like a balloon slowly losing air. She stayed quiet, her eyes following each flash of the camera, knowing she wouldn't be in the picture this time. And just like that, the moment she had looked forward to the most slipped away, not with noise, not with drama, but with a quiet sentence and a small shake of the head. Lily sat alone on the cold, stone steps outside the school building. The hallway noise had faded behind the doors, and the only sound around her was the soft rustle of leaves and the distant laughter of other kids inside. She held her sparkly headband gently in her lap, twisting it slowly between her fingers. The same headband she had worn with so much pride that morning. Now it just felt like a reminder of something that had gone wrong. She kept her eyes down, trying not to cry. Her chest felt tight, and her face still burned from what the teacher had said. She didn't fully understand it. Why her dress, her style, her effort wasn't enough. She wasn't trying to stand out in a bad way. She had just wanted to look special, to feel proud, to be seen. But now it felt like the opposite had happened. She hadn't been included. She had been pushed aside, quietly, like it didn't matter. She looked at the headband again. It shimmered in the sunlight, catching the light just right, and for a moment it reminded her of how happy she had been that morning. She had twirled in front of the mirror. She had called herself a princess. Her mom had smiled and told her she belonged in every picture. Lily had believed that, but now she sat alone, not in any picture at all, not part of the memory everyone else was creating. A breeze passed by, lifting the ends of her dress. She hugged her knees, trying to make herself smaller. She didn't want anyone to see her like this, sitting alone, left out, not smiling. She wiped at her cheeks with the sleeve of her dress. She wasn't crying out loud, but the tears still came, slow and quiet, the kind that come when you don't want anyone to know you're hurting. Other kids were still inside. The photo session wasn't over. Teachers were still guiding students to the front, still arranging the group. But Lily was no longer part of it. She had been taken out before she ever got the chance. She wondered if anyone even noticed she was missing from the line, if anyone would ask why she wasn't in the picture. She thought about going back inside, about telling the teacher she wanted to be in the photo anyway, but the words didn't come. Her confidence had slipped away the moment she was told she didn't fit. That word echoed in her head. Not pretty, not stylish, just not the right fit. It hurt in a way she couldn't explain. She hadn't done anything wrong, but she still felt like she had. So she stayed on the steps, quietly holding her headband, the one thing still sparkling. And even though the sun was out and the school was full of noise and excitement, Lily felt like she was sitting in a shadow, forgotten and alone. Lily's mom arrived a little early that afternoon, hoping to hear all about photo day and see her daughter's glowing smile. She imagined Lily skipping out of the building, excited to share how her picture turned out. But when she reached the school gate, something felt different. A few parents were standing around waiting too, but no one met her eyes. Some looked away quickly. A few leaned toward each other, whispering in low voices, glancing in her direction, and then turning back like they hadn't noticed her. The friendly hellos she was used to were missing. Instead, there was silence, heavy and strange. She frowned slightly, brushing it off at first, and kept looking for Lily. When she finally spotted her daughter walking slowly toward her, head down, eyes tired, and her sparkly headband in her hand instead of on her head, her heart sank. Lily wasn't smiling. She wasn't glowing. She looked hurt and confused. Her dress was still perfect, but everything else about her was dimmed. Lily walked up and didn't say anything. She just hugged her mom tightly, not like she usually did, but in a way that said everything without a word. Her mom hugged her back, feeling something was deeply wrong. She knelt down, brushing Lily's hair from her face. "Sweetheart, what happened?" she whispered. Lily just shook her head, her eyes glossy. "They said I didn't fit. I didn't get to be in the picture," she murmured. That's all she said before burying her face in her mom's shoulder. Her mom stood up, holding Lily close, anger and confusion building in her chest. She spotted the teacher nearby and walked over, her voice calm but firm. "Excuse me, can we talk for a moment? I heard Lily wasn't included in the class photo. Can you explain why?" The teacher gave a tight smile, eyes darting around quickly before answering. "Oh yes, there was a small issue. We had a specific look planned for the class photo, and unfortunately, Lily's outfit didn't match the overall theme." She kept her tone light, like it wasn't a big deal. "It's part of a school policy we've been trying, just to keep the photos looking uniform." Lily's mom stared at her, trying to process the vague excuse. So she was excluded because of her clothes? She was excited all morning. She told me she wanted to look like a princess. The teacher nodded slightly, avoiding her eyes. "We appreciate that. We really do. But sometimes we have to make decisions for the group look. It's nothing personal, but it felt personal. It felt wrong." Lily's mom looked around again. The whispers, the looks, the silence. It all made sense now. And while the teacher moved on quickly, pretending everything was fine, Lily's mom stood still, holding her daughter close, heartbroken not just for what happened, but for how quietly and carelessly it had been brushed aside. The schoolyard was quiet now, but not in a peaceful way. It was the kind of silence that feels uncomfortable, like everyone's holding their breath but pretending not to notice. Parents whispered softly, stealing glances at Lily and her mother, then quickly looking away. The teacher had already walked off, blending back into the building, leaving behind nothing but vague words and even vaguer answers. Lily stood close to her mom, still holding her headband, her small fingers twisting it without thinking. The sparkle was gone from her eyes and she hadn't said another word. Then suddenly the sound of tires on the road broke the stillness. A sleek black car rolled slowly into the school's front drive. It didn't look like any of the usual cars that picked up kids. This one was long, polished, and perfectly clean. Its windows were dark, tinted so no one could see inside. Everyone turned to look. Conversations stopped. Even the whispers fell quiet. The car came to a smooth stop right at the curb, like it knew exactly where to go. For a few seconds, no one moved. Then the back door opened with a soft click and a man stepped out. He was tall, calm, and dressed in a perfectly fitted black suit. His shoes gleamed in the sunlight, and even the way he stood felt important. He didn't look around nervously. He didn't rush. He just stood there for a moment, scanning the crowd slowly. People started murmuring again, but now with curiosity and confusion. Who was he? Why was he here? Was he someone famous? Important? A few parents straightened up, unsure what to do. Lily clung a little tighter to her mom's side, her eyes wide as she watched the man approach. He didn't stop at the front desk or speak to anyone else. He walked straight across the courtyard, every step quiet and sure, until he reached Lily and her mom. He stopped in front of them, gave a small, respectful nod to Lily's mom, then looked down at Lily, not with judgment or confusion, but with kindness. Real kindness. The kind that says, "I see you," without saying anything at all. He knelt down so he was eye level with her, his voice calm and steady. "Are you Lily?" he asked gently. She nodded slowly, still unsure. You didn't get your photo taken today, did you? Her eyes dropped, and she shook her head. Well, he said, reaching into his coat, we're going to fix that. The silence shifted. Everyone was watching. No one knew what was happening, but something about it felt big, like the moment before a storm or a change. Lily looked up at the man, her heart thudding with something new. Not fear, not sadness, hope. Something was about to happen, and it was all starting with the black car. The man in the black suit looked right into Lily's eyes, but not in a scary way. His eyes were calm and kind, like he already understood everything, without needing her to explain. He smiled gently and said, "Hi, Lily. My name is Mr. Hart. I know you don't know me, but I've been waiting to meet someone like you." Lily blinked, surprised. She held her headband a little tighter. Her mom looked at him too, confused but curious, standing protectively close. Mr. Hart noticed and nodded respectfully to her. "I know this day didn't go the way you thought it would," he said, turning back to Lily. "You were excited, you looked beautiful, and you showed up ready to shine, but someone else's rules tried to make you feel like you didn't belong. That wasn't right." Lily's eyes started to water again, but she didn't look away. This stranger was saying everything she had felt, but couldn't find words for, and somehow it made her feel less alone. "I've seen this before," Mr. Hart continued. "I was once that kid, too. I wore the wrong shoes. My smile was too big. My voice was too loud. And I remember what it felt like to be left out, to be told I didn't fit. That feeling stays with you. But what I didn't know back then is that being different isn't something to hide. It's something to celebrate." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black box. Slowly he opened it and showed Lily a delicate gold pin shaped like a star. "This is for people who shine, even when others try to dim their light," he said softly. "It's not an award you apply for. It's something you earn by being exactly who you are. And Lily, you've earned it today." He gently pinned the star onto the ribbon of her dress, just above her heart. Lily looked down at it, speechless. The star shimmered in the sunlight, catching the eyes of every parent, every student, everyone watching. The whispers stopped. No one could look away. Mr. Hart stood up and looked around at the quiet crowd. "You all saw her. She came dressed with joy. She came with confidence. And she was told that wasn't enough. But look at her now, still standing, still shining. That's strength." He turned back to Lily. "I work with people who believe in kids like you. Kids who don't just follow the rules but change them. If you're ready, we'd like to take your picture. Not just for your mom, but for something bigger. Something that shows the world what courage really looks like." Lily nodded slowly. She felt her heart lifting, the sadness melting just a little. Mr. Hart extended his hand and she took it. For the first time all day, she smiled. Not the small, unsure kind, but the real one, the one she'd practiced that morning. And just like that, everything began to change. Mr. Hart led Lily a few steps toward the black car. The door opened again, but this time, it wasn't just a car, it had been transformed. Inside, a small backdrop was set up, soft lights glowing, and a professional camera on a stand. Everything was quiet, gentle, respectful. Mr. Hart knelt beside her again and said, "This is for you. No rules, no themes. Just you, exactly how you are." Lily stepped inside slowly. Her mom watched with wide eyes, hands over her heart, tears forming but not falling yet. Lily stood in front of the backdrop, the star-shaped pin on her dress catching the light. Mr. Hart gave her a small nod. "Take your time," he said. "No rush. This is your moment." She stood tall, her sparkly headband now back on her head, her eyes clear and strong. The camera clicked softly, again and again. Each photo captured something different. Her courage, her sadness, her strength, and finally her smile. Not the one forced for school photos. This one came from deep inside, the kind that survives the storm. A few minutes later, Mr. Hart came out of the car with something wrapped carefully in brown paper. He knelt again in front of Lily and held it out. "I want you to have this," he said. "It's not just a picture, it's proof." Lily gently unwrapped the paper. Inside was a framed portrait of her, standing tall, looking straight into the lens, eyes bright, heart wide open. Her dress flowed beautifully, her headband sparkled, and that star pin sat like a badge of honor. But it wasn't just pretty, it was powerful. It was her. She stared at it, stunned. Everyone around them had gone completely quiet. Even the ones who had whispered earlier now stood frozen, unsure what to say. Mr. Hart smiled and said, "You're not missing from the picture, Lily. You are the picture, You're the reason it matters. He stood and faced the small crowd that had gathered. There are kids like Lily everywhere, bright, bold, different, and they keep getting told to shrink, to adjust, to wait their turn. But what if we stopped making them fit into a frame and started building a frame that fits them? Lily's mom walked over and hugged her tight, eyes full of emotion. She looked at the portrait, then at her daughter, and whispered, "This is the picture I'll remember forever." The other parents looked on, some ashamed, some deeply moved. The silence wasn't cold anymore. It was full, full of realization, of change, of something new beginning. Mr. Hart nodded one last time, got back into the car and drove away. But Lily stayed there, holding that frame close. Not a background, not an extra, not invisible. She was the picture, and everyone finally saw it. Mr. Hart stood tall, holding Lily's framed portrait in his hands, and slowly turned to face the school building. Parents stood frozen, teachers peeking from doorways, curious eyes watching from every corner. The silence now was thick with tension, but it couldn't drown out what was coming next. He lifted the frame slightly, making sure everyone could see it. "This," he said, voice clear and strong, "is not just a photo. This is a message." Lily stood beside him, quiet but no longer small. Her chin was up. Her hand still clutched her mom's, but she wasn't hiding behind her anymore. The framed photo showed her exactly as she was, confident, proud, unashamed. It glowed in the sunlight like truth breaking through fog. Mr. Hart took a deep breath and looked straight at the teachers gathered near the doorway. "You told this child she didn't fit. You told her to sit out, to wait, to be quiet, because her outfit didn't match, because her joy didn't fit your theme. But you didn't just exclude her from a photo. You tried to erase her from a memory." Some of the teachers shifted uncomfortably. A few lowered their heads. The principal stepped forward, trying to speak, but Mr. Hart held up his hand, calmly but firmly. "No more quiet excuses. No more vague policies. This isn't just about Lily. This happens in schools, in offices, in boardrooms all over the world. Bright kids are told they're too much or not enough simply because they don't fit someone else's mold. Well, today that mold breaks." He turned back toward the crowd of parents. "This photo, Lily's photo, will be on billboards in every major city. It'll be on websites, in interviews, in classrooms. It'll be part of a campaign about visibility, courage, and change. Because the world needs to see what you tried to hide." Gasps moved through the crowd. Parents looked at each other, unsure what to do or say. Some blinked in shock. Some nodded slowly, understanding. One mom clutched her own daughter a little tighter. "This is no longer a quiet story buried inside a school hallway," Mr. Hart continued. "This is a lesson, not just for the children, but for the adults too. You don't get to decide who belongs. Every child belongs. Every voice matters." He stepped forward and placed the framed photo gently on the school steps. "This stays here," he said. "So the next time a student walks through these doors wondering if they'll be accepted, they'll see her face first, and they'll know the answer is yes." Then he turned to Lily, smiling. "You didn't just change today for yourself, Lily. You changed it for others too." And with that, he walked away, leaving behind more than just a picture. He left behind a challenge, a mirror, and a spark that no one could ignore anymore. By evening, the photo of Lily had already traveled far beyond the school steps. It lit up phone screens, filled timelines, and showed up in inboxes all over the world. People shared it with words like powerful, heartbreaking, and inspiring. Her picture, once meant to be left out, was now being seen by millions. Lily, in her princess dress with the sparkly headband and the golden star on her chest, stood tall in every post. Her eyes shined with something that couldn't be edited or cropped out: pride. News outlets picked it up quickly. Headlines read, "Little girl excluded from class photo gets the last word," and "She was left out, now the world is looking in." The story spread like wildfire. Celebrities reposted it. Activists praised her strength. Even kids from other schools started sending pictures of themselves dressed up, using the hashtag #IamThePicture. Back at the school, the teacher who had quietly pulled Lily aside that morning was now the center of a very loud conversation. Parents demanded answers. The principal released a public statement, calling the decision a misunderstanding, but it didn't help. Screenshots of Mr. Hart's words were everywhere. "You're not missing from the picture. You are the picture." And with each repost, the story grew bigger than the school, bigger than the mistake. It became a symbol. But the most important part wasn't happening on the internet. It was in Lily's heart. She sat on the couch at home, her portrait now hanging proudly on the wall, Her mom sat beside her, gently brushing her hair back. They didn't need to say much. Everything had already been said. Lily stared at her picture, the same one she had dreamed of that morning. The difference was, this one didn't need school approval. It didn't need matching outfits or a certain look. It just needed her. She smiled quietly, a real soft smile that came from deep inside. For the first time that day, she didn't feel small or wrong. She didn't feel like she had to explain herself or try harder. She felt seen. Her mom leaned over and kissed her on the forehead. "You were always the picture," she whispered. Lily nodded. She believed it now. Somewhere in the world, a girl who looked nothing like the ones in magazines saw Lily's photo and smiled too. Somewhere, a boy who never felt like he fit in looked at that golden star and felt a little braver. And somewhere, a teacher paused before telling a student they didn't belong, remembering Lily's eyes. She hadn't just gone viral. She had become a spark. And the next morning when Lily walked into school, kids ran up to her, not to tease her, not to ask questions, just to say, "You looked amazing." She smiled and held her head high, not to prove anything this time, but because she finally knew. She was never invisible. She was always the picture.